People often ask a really stupid question, I think. They often ask, what would you do with $1 million? And not even being a prophet, I can tell you what you do with $1 million. You do with $1 million exactly what you would do with a dime. And if you would hoard a dime, you'd hoard $1 million. If you'd waste a dime, you'd waste $1 million. If you share a dime, you'd share, etc., etc. And so I think a lot of young people look at their lives and they think all they have is a dime and that their life is unimportant. And they're waiting for God to give them a fortune. And they think, when I get my fortune, then I will respond to the call of God. Well, what you're doing now is you are setting a direction for what you're going to be doing in 10 years. If you don't love your parents, you're not going to love anybody else. If you can't love your brothers and sisters, don't live with the illusion that someday you're going to find people who are better than they are. Everyone's pretty ratty when you get down to the bottom of it. If you don't love your neighbors where you live, you're not going to love your neighbors just because you happen to move 1,000 miles away. I think that people often worry about what the will of God is, and I always say, well, we know the will of God. God has gone to the trouble, and a good many people have gone to the trouble to write His will down in the Scriptures so that we can know what He wants us to be. He wants us to love. He wants us to rejoice in Him. He wants us to live lives that are flushed with glory. And this is the will of God. And you do that whether you live in North Dakota, whether you live in New York City, whether you live in Wichita, wherever you live. That is the will of God. And they say, well, yeah, but what about, is God calling me to missions? Is God calling me to church work? Is God calling me to be a lawyer? Which I doubt. What is God, specifically calling me to? And I kind of go, that's God's problem. You be God's person where you are. And if God wants you to go somewhere else, like say God wants you in Egypt, He will provide 10 jealous brothers, and they will sell you into slavery, and you'll end up there. That God has a way of accomplishing His will. And our job is to say yes to God in the place that we're at, in the moment that we're in. A lot of kids say, gosh, I don't know if I can, a lot of kids have drug habits. A lot of kids are already stuck in an alcohol habit. A lot of people say, gee, I just don't think I could quit smoking, drinking, whatever those things are. And I'm not sure that everyone has to quit those. But I do know this, that the only way I've been able to overcome moral flaws or even hang-ups of my own has not been to quit them, but just to say, I'm not going to do it now. I'm not going to worry about tomorrow. Maybe if I had been struggling with the drug problem, I'm not going to say I'll never take heroin again. I'm only going to say I'm not going to take it now. I'm not going to shoot up this minute. And this is the only minute I have to get through. Christ might come back tonight. I may wake up tomorrow and never have to struggle again. I'm not going to worry about tomorrow because it may not even happen. But I will do God's will here and now in this moment. And when I can no longer do that, God will provide an escape. So my advice to people is not to worry about whether you should go into missions, not to worry about which group of people you might have a rapport with and you might have a meaningful work among. Love the people you're with. I think even though the song might not have intended to say this, there is some good advice in the idea if you can't be with the one you love, love the one you're with. Especially if we interpret love the way that the Bible interprets it to us. Especially if we say, if you can't want the best for, if you can't be with the one that you want the best for the one that you're with. If you can't be with the people that you naturally enjoy, learn to enjoy the people that you're stuck in the midst of.